Finally, I dare to appear in the story. Why do I put myself into theory? If you think of you are not professional enough, not qualified, not be seen. As today's video, I want to share my story with you. Hi, I'm Meixin. I'm an immigrant, an Asian woman. The systems had labeled rules and structures, but none of them could hold my actual stories. And as someone who built a whole theory, because I couldn't find my voice in the system, they were supposed to support me. When I studied sociology in undergrad, many of my professors and classmates said I have talented in sociology. They said I could see social structures others didn't, and I could use my own experience to explain theories. But the problem was, I didn't have a title, I wasn't qualified. I couldn't write the kinds of papers that were considered acceptable. I felt excluded. The church accepted me more than academia ever did. For 10 years, I devoted my time in church, accompanying people in pain, asking reflective questions, sharing my stories to encourage them and inspire them. I was so proud of the work I did, because they came from love and inspire people. But when I want to find a job, none of the experience counted. In some cultural context, you are not even supposed to mention what you did in church. Because if you talk about that, people think you are trying to glorify yourself instead of God. I was in pain, I had passion, but I was still marginalized. So as a result, I was told I had talent for sociology, but I wasn't qualified in academia. I had done deeply meaningful work, but I wasn't experienced even to get hired. Then I want to change. In order to be seen as professional, qualified, experienced, I learned to hide my feelings, my inspirations, my lived experiences, and my heart that wanted to help isolated people. Because I thought none of these things could bring me a job. I have to survive in this world. You know what's crazy? Sociology was supposed to be the one place where people like me belonged. I read C. Wright Mills' The Sociological Imagination, and he said, sociology is about connecting personal troubles with public issues. It helps us realize our private pain is not just personal, it's social. But then I found out if I want to be rational, professional, recognized by the world, if I want to publish in top journals, chase after titles, then I couldn't write sociology that describes my life. I couldn't use sociology to heal people or bring them hope. That's why for many people, sociology feels so academic, so disconnected from real life. I had a tutor who once told me, "You are very talented in sociology. If you cannot put yourself in your theory, then this world will lose a true great sociologist." This moment changed me. I started working on the theory of spiritual capital because I believe spiritual capital can describe something deeper. A person's value, moral grounding, inner strength, and ability to heal. The theory I created includes 5 dimensions: self-awareness, emotional intelligence, social connection and services, moral clarity, flexibility in the face of uncertainty. I built this framework because I saw something missing. I met some people with very high social capital and psychology capital, but they were still lost. Some even harmed other people. I remember hearing a group of highly educated men. Their PhDs working in Silicon Valley, and they are talking about dating an American is so hard. So they think of going back to China and buy a wife, as if a woman were object, a solution to their loneliness. They talk about it like a strategy. Oh, Chinese women are more traditional, more obedient, easier to deal with. They made me sick. In this moment, I realized you can have all education, all the salary, all the so-called capital, and lack of basic empathy, ethics, and human dignity. That's why I say social capital and psychology capital are not enough to describe human beings. They can't explain everything. They miss something essential. And you know what else? A lot of organizations, they have perfect system but still fail. Why? Because they lack trust, they lack meaning, they lack alignment in values. And you can think about this. What kinds of people influence you the most? They are not always the one with perfect resume. They are the one with passion, with empathy, with emotional strength. That's real power. But none of it shows up on a resume. When I finished building spiritual capital theory and trying to submit proposal to several conferences, to my surprise, I received lots of positive feedback. At that time, I realized I really did a great job without a title, as what real sociology does. What I did, I used my personal experience to transform into public issues. And this real sociology can inspire and guide people. So that's my story, why I put myself in my theory. If you ever felt like you are not seen, if you try so hard to meet some standards, but deep down you still feel like you are not what they want. Maybe you will be excluded from certain groups, or told that your emotions, your values, your faith, your idealism don't belong in this world. Let me tell you, that's not your fault, that's your spiritual capital. Everyone is born as a light. You were born to create different meanings. And that's how we bring more diversity, more depth, and actually move humanity forward. If you want to connect it, you can follow this channel or join my Facebook group, and I will share more content, personal stories, and reflections on my blogs. You can find everything below this video.